Now we'll set up the same number of stitches to work in the round on 2 circular needles. The 2 circular needles don't have to be the same length, but they do need to be the same size. So I've cast on all my stitches onto one of my circulars, and I'm just working out where half is approximately. Again, compress the stitches, overlap the tapers of the needles, and scoot the stitches across until you've moved about half of them. So I've got 12 on this needle and 12 on the other needle. And these are 2 different needles, they're not the opposite ends of the same needle. Now we're going to fold it round just as we did when we were using rigid double pointed needles, so that the hinge end is at the left and the last stitch we cast on is on the far needle. And we'll slide all the stitches to the midsection of both needles. The stitch we want to work next to join the circle is this front one here, stitch number 1, and that will join the circle. So I've got to get the stitch I want to work near the tip of the needle. So I'm going to continue sliding this needle through. This is the end of the same needle, and I'm going to take the yarn from that back needle and work across my front needle, holding it together. So this is very, very similar to how we set up on rigid double pointed needles. I'm just going to knit across this one. So here I have a circle, which is my front circular needle, and I'm knitting onto the opposite end of the same needle. And this way you've got half of your round on one needle and half on the other needle. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's good to be close. So I've worked all my stitches on that side of my circle, back onto this same needle that they were originally, and I'm sliding these stitches through to the middle of the flex. Right now my circle is only connected by one strand here and the cast on edge there. So I'm going to turn the whole thing around by 180 degrees. So that was the last stitch I knitted. So this is the one I want to knit next. This is my working yarn, and this is my other needle. Some knitters like to use different coloured needles or different brands of needles for the 2 needles, because it helps you to identify which tip is which. Because it would be quite easy to get hold of the needle tip from the back needle. So you have to make sure you're always knitting onto the tip of the same needle. Keeping everything snug at the corner there, not pushing it apart. I'm now working across the second half of the first round. I've just completed round 1, across that needle, across this needle. I'm going to pull this to the middle section of the flex. So that's another nice feature about this. Once you've pulled your stitches to the middle of the flex, then they can't escape on you. Easy to carry around in a knitting bag. The stitch I want to work next is this one on the front needle. I've slipped my stitches to the tip end with the stitch I want to work next right at the tip. Hold everything snug together and knit off on my next round. And you just repeat that over and over again.